Hello and welcome students. We are into the 18th video lecture of the video lecture series made on the subject of machine design, and the topic which we are going to discuss today is the numerical based on the design of spur gear. This topic is in continuation with the last two video lectures in which I have explained you about the different types of gears, importance of gears, and then after in the previous lecture I have told you about the different types of terms which are used in gear design. Alright, I am Shri Krishna Mishra, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. So let's move into the discussion now. First of all, we will explore the objectives of today's lecture. As I have told you, as the title of the video lecture suggests, the whole focus of today's video lecture will be to understand the process of spur gear design. Alright, we are going to understand the process of the spur gear design of spur gears. Then after, our second objective is to understand the causes of failure of gear tooth. There are different types of failure of gear tooth. So we are going to trace the causes. What are the different types of causes due to which a gear tooth fails? All right, we are going to discuss about the causes of failure of gear tooth. Then our third lecture objective is to design a spur gear based on a given data. After understanding the process of gear design, what we are going to do, we are going to design a spur gear based on a given data. We are going to design a spur gear based on a given data. So these were the objectives of today's lecture. Now we are moving into the discussion. First of all, as we have seen in the last lecture, I have derived Lewis equation for finding the strength of the tooth of the beam, which is also known as the beam strength of the tooth. So the Lewis equation which we have derived to find the beam strength of the tooth was given by, first of all, we have used this formula. This is the formula taken out from the bending equation. All right, and we have used some terminologies. What were the terminologies? We were considering that the load which is acting on a tooth, when the load which is acting on a tooth of one gear to the tooth of the other gear, that load is Wn. So this Wn, basically I have told you that Wn, this is resolved into two components. One is Wr in the direction of the radial direction of the gear, and the other is Wt in the tangential direction of the gear. Now this particular component of Wn, this particular component of the load applied is basically the one which can be neglected, because it basically represents the compressive load that is acting on the tooth, and since it is negligible, therefore we can neglect it. We are neglecting this one. All right, we will focus on this tangential component. This tangential component is the one which drives the tooth, which moves the tooth. All right, so Wt will be considered, and if Wt is the tangential load that is acting, and we are considering the critical section as BC. Why we are considering the critical section? Because if we will draw a area of uniform stress, if we design the area of uniform stress, we will see that it will be in the parabolic form, and you will have uniform stress everywhere if you design in this way. Now the thickness of the tooth is greater than, now the thickness of the tooth, you can see it is greater everywhere. It is greater everywhere than this profile which shows the uniform stress. So means our tooth is safe, it will not fail. The only region where the thickness of the tooth matches with this thickness of this profile, uniform stress profile, is this section BC. So BC is the critical section, and therefore if you take this Wt into H, this will provide you the moment. This will Wt into H. If you obtain Wt into H, so this will provide you the moment. This particular thing will provide you the moment. All right, This moment can be calculated in this way. Now y is void. What? Y is the distance from the neutral axis. As I have told you in bending equation, the distance from the neutral axis, of the outermost fiber is given by y. So here what is y? Y is, you will, in place of y you will write ty2. Similarly, what is moment of inertia I? Moment of inertia I, student, in this case we all know for a rectangular profile whose width is b, whose width is student b, alright, whose width is b, and thickness t is given by bt cube by 12. We all know it is given by student by bt cube by 12. bt cube by 12. Alright. So in this way, when we have put all the values, we have seen, students, we have seen that the tangential load that is acting on the beam, will be given by this expression. Now in this expression also, I have told you this particular term T is basically based on pitch circle diameter D. Alright, it is based on circular pitch. Alright, this term I have explained you what is circular pitch. Alright, and this H, these both depend on this particular circular pitch. So we can write this T and H in terms of circular pitch PC. How? We can write T is equal to some constant into PC and H also as equal to some constant multiplied by PC. So what we have done in this way, we have applied students, in this way we have applied students, in this way T is equal to XPC we have kept, alright, and H is equal to KPC we have kept, and finally we have got the expression equal to this. Now in this expression, students, you can see x square upon 6k is basically a constant, and we can write a single constant name for it. We are writing y in place of it. Y is basically what? Y is your Lewis form factor, or we can say tooth form factor. We have given the name, it is the Lewis form factor here, or the tooth form factor. And finally your expression for tangential load becomes equal to sigma w b pcy. And in place of PC, circular pitch, we all know that circular pitch is equal to pi m. So you can write PC is equal to circular pitch PC is equal to pi m. Alright. So finally this is the equation. Now students, this equation is also known as the beam strength of tooth. This equation is also known as equation for finding the beam strength of the tooth given by WT. WT is your beam strength, students. Now here the Lewis form factor constant can be obtained from the machine design data book. In the machine design data book, you can find this particular chart for finding the value of Lewis form factor. In this, the only thing you should know is the number of teeth in the gear. On the basis of that, you can use any of this expression based on what is the pressure angle of the tooth. The pressure angle is 20 degree, and that also to stub system you can use this last one. And if it is 20 degree full depth, you can use this middle one. And if it is 14.5 composite and full depth, you can use the first one. All right. So these were the values of Lewis form factor. Now, after deriving this equation of finding the beam strength of the tooth, the second thing is that what will be the permissible working stress? What will be the permissible working stress for gear tooth in Lewis equation? So what will be the permissible working stress? See, permissible working stress in Lewis equation depends on material for which an allowable static stress may be determined. Alright. So basically permissible working stress for the gear depends on the material. Alright. And what value of material? The allowable stress, static stress value of the material. So the allowable static stress is basically what? It is that stress which is obtained at elastic limit of the material. What is allowable static stress? It is the stress available at the elastic limit of the material. It is also known as basic stress. All right. Now, in order to account for dynamic effects when the gear is in motion, in order to account for the dynamic effects, which becomes very severe at a pitch line velocity, as the pitch line velocity increases. All right, as the pitch line velocity increases. All right, so in that case, the dynamic effects, students, dynamic effects means when the gear is in motion. In that case, the pitch line velocity increases, and due to this, the value of sigma w, stress, that is also reduced. Now, in order to account for this, there is a Barth formula. Students. It is known as Barth formula, and it gives the value of permissible working stress by the formula sigma w, that is permissible working stress. Sigma w is equal to sigma naught into CV. Permissible working stress sigma w is equal to sigma naught into CV, where CV is basically your velocity factor. CV is your velocity factor, students. And sigma naught is the allowable static stress. So if you have these two values, you can easily calculate the value of permissible working stress, that is equal to sigma naught into CV. Now, the allowable static stress sigma naught for steel gears, this is a note you should keep in mind. If the material is steel, student is steel, so in that case directly you can take the value of allowable static stress as 1/3 of ultimate tensile stress. The value of allowable static stress in the case of gears made of steel is 1/3 of the ultimate tensile strength of steel. All right, sigma naught mathematically we can say sigma naught is equal to sigma u divided by 3. So this is the permissible working stress for gear teeth in Lewis equation. Moving further, this basically you should keep in mind in the design process of gear. We will use this particular formula also. Sigma naught is equal to sigma w is equal to sigma naught into CV. Now, velocity factor, again this factor you can calculate from machine design data book. You can use any of the value given, and these all values, students, are based on the pitch line velocity of the gear. All right, if the pitch line velocity is up to 12.5 meter per second, you will use the formula 3/3 plus v. If the velocity is up to 12 meter per second, you will use the formula 4.5 divided by 4.5 plus v. And if the gears are accurately cut and the speed is up to 20 meter per second, in that case the formula which you will use is 6/6 plus v. Again, for precision gears with high accuracy and operating speed 20 meter per second, you can use the formula 0.75 divided by 0.75 plus root v. Lastly, for non-metallic gears, students, you can use the formula 0.75 upon 1 plus v whole bracket plus 0.25. So these are the values of velocity factor which you can get from machine design data book also. So now moving further, students, we are coming into how to calculate the dynamic tooth load. How we will calculate the dynamic tooth load. See, the velocity factor was used to make approximate allowances for the effect of dynamic loading. The dynamic loading are due to the following reasons: inaccuracies of tooth spacing, irregularities in tooth profiles, and the third is deflections of teeth under load. Basically, students, dynamic tooth load is to be calculated. The reason is that because there are dynamic loads acting on the gear. And why? What are the reason for this dynamic load? First is there is always some inaccuracy in tooth spacing. All the tooth spaces might not be of equal size. All right, so this can be the reason of dynamic load that might be acting on the gear. Second is there might be some irregularities in tooth profiles. You can see that sometimes the tooth profiles might not be of accurate shape. All right, this tooth profile, student, this might not be of accurate shape. Then after, there might be some deflection of teeth under load. Also, the teeth might get deflected under the action of some load. It can be deflected in some direction. So in order to account for these all reasons, we use the formula for calculating the dynamic load as equal to WD is equal to WT plus WI, where WT is the same which we have calculated, steady load due to transmitted torque, and Wi is what? Wi is the increment load due to dynamic action. Now WT we will calculate in the previous step, we have already calculated. Alright, for Wi you have a formula. What is that formula? For Wi, students, what you will do? This Wi basically depends on pitch line velocity, phase width, material of the gear, and accuracy of the gears that are cut, and also the tangential load. These are the 4 factors on which the increment load depends. And using these factors, the formula for calculating the increment load is Wi is equal to 21 into small v into whole bracket small b into capital C plus Wt whole divided by 21v plus root of Bc plus Wt. Now in this formula I have told you the meaning of small v. The meaning of small v is pitch line velocity. The meaning of b is basically, we all know, it is the face width. Students, means the width of the face of the tooth. Then C is what? C is basically a factor which is known as deformation factor. You can get its value from the design data book. And apart from that, using these formula, you can calculate the value of WD. So this is the formula for calculating WD. WD is equal to Wt plus Wi, where Wi is the increment load which depends on pitch line velocity, accuracy of the gear cut, material used for making the gear, and the tangential load that is acting on the gear. Alright, so on the basis of that, there is one factor also which is known as deformation factor. Alright. So in this way dynamic tooth load can be calculated. Now apart from dynamic tooth load, we have to calculate in the designing of gears, we also have to calculate the static tooth load. Now how we calculate the static tooth load, students? Basically, first of all, what is static tooth load? It is also known as beam strength, student, or endurance strength of the tooth. Beam strength or endurance strength of the tooth. Alright, and it is obtained by Lewis formula by substituting the flexural endurance limit or elastic limit by the in place of working stress. In the formula which we have derived as the Lewis equation, in that formula, if you see, this is the formula for finding the beam strength of the tooth. In this formula, students, if you can see that if in place of sigma w, you replace it by sigma E. Sigma is what? It is the endurance limit of the material or elastic limit stress. It is the flexural endurance limit or elastic limit stress. So sigma E, if you replace sigma W, the working stress, by the sigma E, you can calculate the static tooth load. Means when the tooth is not in operating condition, when the tooth is not in dynamic condition, then in that case static load can be calculated by this formula. And how you will calculate the value of sigma E? Sigma E can be calculated on the basis of the material used for manufacturing of the gear and the Brinell hardness number of the material and the Brinell hardness number of the material. If the Brinell hardness number of the material is 160, you will have flexural endurance limit as 84. Similarly, if the BHN number, Brinell hardness number in short, is known as BHN. So if the number is 200 BHN number, so in that case the endurance limit will be 126. And if the BHN number is 100, then in that case the value will be 168. So this chart will help you in order to find the value of a flexural endurance limit of the material. Alright, always keep in mind, students, always keep in mind that for safety against tooth breakage, for safety against the breaking of the tooth, the static tooth load WS, which we are calculating here, static tooth load, it should always be greater than the dynamic tooth load. Always keep in mind, in order to prevent the breaking of the tooth, your WS will always be greater than WD. Your WS should always be greater than WD, means WS it should always be greater than WD. This you should keep in mind. All right. So this was your designing step, further step. Now moving further, students, static tooth load also we have calculated. Now we will calculate the wear tooth load. This also has to be calculated while designing the gears. So basically, what is wear tooth load? It is basically the maximum load. It is basically the maximum load that gear tooth can carry without premature wear. It is basically what? It is the maximum load that gear teeth can carry without premature wear, and it depends upon the radius of curvature, all right, of the tooth profile, and also on the elasticity and surface fatigue limit of the material. So basically, what is the wear tooth load? It is the maximum load that the gear can carry, maximum load without any wear and tear, and it depends upon the radius of curvature of the tooth profile and also on the elasticity and the surface fatigue limit of the material. Now what is the formula for calculating this wear tooth load? Wear tooth load can be calculated by using the equation which is known as Buckingham equation. According to it, wear tooth load is equal to dPBQK. This is the Buckingham equation, students, and from it you can calculate the wear tooth load. It is denoted by WW. WW is the maximum load for wear in newtons. Apart from that, what is DP? As I have told to you that wear tooth load depends on the pitch circle diameter. It depends on the pitch circle diameter of the pinion. And B is what? B, as I have already told you during the derivation of the Lewis equation, it is the face width of the pinion. Q is what? Q is a factor which you can calculate by this formula, 2 into VR upon VR plus 1. Or in other words, we can say if you have the number of teeth or in gear and pinion, so you can write 2 into TG upon TG plus TB. This will be for external gearings, keep in mind. For internal gears, we will use the formula 2 into TG upon TG minus TP. Alright, here is VR, we all know it is velocity ratio, and it is given by TG by TP, number of teeth in the gear divided by number of teeth in the pinion. TG by TP is the velocity ratio. Alright, one more factor is here, that is known as the load stress factor. This load stress factor is also known as material combination factor, and its value also you can get, if it is not given in the numerical, you can find its value from the machine design data book. Alright, so this was the method of calculating the wear tooth load. It was the maximum load which the gear teeth can carry before failure without any wear or tear. Failure means, in the case of wearing, the failure is if the material has got wear and tear, that means the material has got failed. Alright, and this is the equation which is known as Buckingham equation, which is used to find the wear tooth load. So this was the step. Now students, now let's focus, students, on the design procedure for spur gears. All of the things which I have told to you in the previous slides, that all thing I will compile, and a systematic design procedure which has to be followed while designing any spur gear, that I am going to tell you. First of all, as we have derived the Lewis equation, using that equation, students, using that equation, we are going to first of all calculate the tangential load, and for that you will need CS. CS is the service factor. First of all, you will have to calculate the tangential load, and how you will calculate the tangential load? The calculation of tangential load can be done with this formula. WT is equal to P upon V into CS. W by T is equal to P upon V into CS, where CS is what? CS is the service factor. It depends on the number of hours of the service of gears. It depends on number of hours of the service of gears, and you can calculate it from the chart given in design data book. When the service hours are intermittent or 3 hours per day and the load is steady, if the service, students, if the working of the gear is for 3 hours per day, and if the load that is acting is the steady load, in that case we take the value, of CS as 0.8. Similarly, if the load is heavy shock type load and you are working for 8 to 10 hours per day with the gears, in that case which value will take from here and from here? If you go this side, you will find this 1.80 is the value that will be considered for heavy shock, and that too for 8 to 10 hours per day. Alright, so in this way you can calculate the CS service factor, which is used in this formula for calculating the tangential load. Apart from it, the load that is applied on the gear, okay, the tangential load can be obtained from this power value, power transmitted in watt. This is the input variable which is given to you, which will be always given to you, that what is the power that you have to transfer with the help of gear. With the help of that power, we all know power divided by velocity, P by V. Alright, this will give you the tangential load, and since here service factor has to be used, so therefore the complete formula is P by V into CS, where V is velocity known as pitch line velocity, and it can be calculated by the formula pi dn by 60. We all know V is equal to pi dn by 60, pi d n by 60. Alright, so in this way the tangential load can be calculated. N is your RPM, speed in RPM, CS is your service factor. Alright, and finally V, pitch line velocity, can be calculated by the formula pi dn by 60. Now moving further, this was the first step to calculate the WT value. Now moving into the second step. Our first step is now, I think, clear to you. In this, one more thing that you have to keep in your mind is that always the pitch line velocity for both the gears, we all know that velocity is equal to pi dn by 60. Now d, we all know module is equal to, we all know students that m, small m, is equal to d divided by t. Alright, d divided by t give you the value of module. From this you can calculate, from this you can write the value of d. You can write the value of d equal to small m into t. D is equal to mt. So we are replacing this particular d is equal to mt here in this equation here, and finally you get pi m Tn. Now pi m, what is pi m? In place of d you have written d is equal to mt. Now pi m, basically pi m is equal to PC, circular pitch, we all know, is equal to pi m, because pi d by t is the circular pitch, and if d by t, if students d by t is replaced by module, it becomes PC. So we can write this expression in this way also, PC into t into n by 60. Alright, now moving further students, second step is to apply the Lewis equation which we have derived. Lewis equation says that tangential load WT is equal to sigma W BPC Y. Now here PC, circular pitch PC, can be replaced by pi m. Alright, and this is, in the previous slide I have told to you that this value of sigma W, this value of permissible load sigma W, this can be calculated by the formula sigma naught into CV. Sigma W is equal to sigma naught into CV. This permissible stress value can be calculated by sigma naught into CV, where CV value you can calculate. CV is the factor, velocity factor, so you can calculate its value from the formula, from the table given in the design data book. I have shown that table in the previous slide. So by that formula you can calculate CV, and through CV you can calculate sigma W in this formula. Now here some points are important to discuss. First, where we will apply this Lewis equation, means which value you will take of circular pitch, whose width you will take, B value. So this is decided by this note which is given here. First, the Lewis equation, students, the Lewis equation is always applied on the weaker of the two wheels, is always applied on the weaker of the both of the gears. Which are the two gears? One is the pinion having less number of teeth and the other is the gear. Now when both, now what are the rules for that? One rule says that, student, when both the pinion and the gear are made of same material, then pinion is considered as the weaker one. Then pinion is considered as the weaker one when both are made of the same material. All right. Now when both are made of different material, then in that case what we do? In that case, student, we have to calculate the value of sigma w into y, or in other words sigma naught into y. This value of both the gears of the pinion as well as of the gear, of both these we have to calculate the value of sigma w into y. All right, and whichever is having the lesser value of this sigma w into y, that is considered as the weaker one. That is considered as the weaker one, and Lewis equation is applied on that one. The one, first of all, keep in mind that always the Lewis equation is applied on the weaker one. All right. The second thing, which will be considered as weaker, the one which is having, the one which is now there are two cases for this. One, if both are made of same material. If both the pinion and the gear both are made of same material, in that case, students, we consider pinion as the weaker, because pinion is having the less number of teeth. All right. Now if the pinion and the gear both are made of different materials, if the material used for manufacturing pinion and gear, if that is different, in that case what we will do, we will calculate the value of sigma w into y. All right, we will calculate the value of sigma w into y for both the gears, for the pinion as well as the gear, and whichever will have the lesser value among these, whichever will have the lesser value of sigma w into y, that will be considered as the weaker one, and the Lewis equation will be applied on that particular gear. All right, so this was important. This was important. Why? Because it is important to understand that though we have to apply the Lewis equation, this is known, but on which? Because two gears are always in meshing with each other. Always there are two gears which are in mesh with each other. All right. So among this, in which we will apply the Lewis equation. This was important to understand. This was step number 2. Coming into third point, sigma w into y, which has to be calculated for finding the weaker one. It is basically what? It is known as your strength factor. It is your strength factor, students. And the phase width B, that can be taken as 3 PC to 4 PC. 3 into circular pitch to 4 into circular pitch. For cut and for cut teeth, this will be between 3 to 4 PC, and for cast teeth it will be between 2 to 3 PC. All right. Coming into the third step. Third step is to calculate the value of dynamic load, and this is calculated by using the Buckingham equation. Buckingham equation, students, has this equation. WD is it helps you to find the value of dynamic load, and dynamic load is the sum of the tangential load plus the increment load. For this for the calculation of this increment load, you can use this formula: 21V into, in bracket, B capital C plus WT upon 21V plus whole root of BC plus WT. So increment load we have calculated, and tangential load, how we will calculate, we have seen in the first step. P by V into service factor will give you the value of tangential load. So this was the third step in the design of gears. Coming into the next step. Now the next step is we have to find the static load. We will find the static load in the next step. Static load, static tooth load. I have explained you about this. Basically it is the beam strength or endurance strength of the tooth. Basically when the gears are stationary, not moving, not working, in that situation the load that is acting on the teeth, that is considered in this static tooth load, and it is calculated by the same formula as given by Lewis equation. The only difference is that in place of sigma w working stress, you will write the endurance stress value. All right, as I have told you, this endurance stress value can be calculated if we know the brittle hardness number. On the basis of brittle hardness number, we can calculate the value of endurance limit, and we will put in this formula and calculate the value of static tooth load. Now after its calculation, we will have to ensure whether this calculated value is greater than the WD value calculated in step number 3 or not. Means whether the static load is greater than dynamic load or not. If it is greater, then our design is safe. So in order to have safety against breakage, always WS should be should be greater than WD. All right, this should be kept in mind. Coming into the next step of design of gear, that is the step number 5, students. What is step number 5 saying to you? Lastly, in step number 5, we will find the wear tooth load. We will find the wear tooth load by this equation. WW is equal to dP BQK. With the help of this equation, students, we are going to calculate the wear tooth load. And wear tooth load should not be less than dynamic load. After the calculation of this wear tooth load, you please check whether it is greater than dynamic tooth load or not. It should always be, students, it should always be greater than the dynamic tooth load. You always keep this in mind. If it is not so, that means that your design is not safe. All right, so this was step number 5. Now all the steps we have seen and understood. Now we will solve one example and see how the designing of gear is done. First of all, let's read this question. What is the question saying to you? The following particulars of a step reduction per gear are given. The values are given to you. First of all, the gear ratio 10:1. All right, gear ratio is important. Why? Because this gear ratio will give you the value of ratio of teeth in the gear to the teeth in the pinion, means TG by TP or DG by DP. This is given to you as 10:1. All right, TG by TP. Now the second value that is given is distance between center is given to you. Distance between center is given to you. Why? Because this is also important, students, because distance between the center will be equal to diameter DP, diameter of pinion, plus diameter DG. All right, DP plus DG divided by 2. This will give you the value of distance between the center. So DG plus DP by 2 is given to you here in the question. How much it is? It is DG plus DP is given. It is 660, and DG plus DP, relation between DP and DG, diameter of pinion and gear, is obtained from this particular value. Then the third line is pinion transmit 500 kilowatt at 1800 RPM. Pinion transmit 500 kilowatt at 1800 RPM. Means this 500 kilowatt is your power. 500 kilowatt is your P value, which you will be needing, which you will need while solving. And 1800 RPM is the value of N. 1800 RPM is the value of capital N. Moving further, students, involute teeth of a standard proportion with pressure angle. Pressure angle is also given to you. Permissible normal pressure between teeth is, this is the pressure between the teeth. This will also be needed. All right, this pressure means they are giving you the value of the normal load, Wn value they are giving you. They are giving you the value of Wn. Basically this 175 is basically what? It is Wn. It is, students, Wn. Now we have to calculate these values from the given data. First, we will calculate the nearest standard module if no interference is to occur. We will calculate the number of teeth on each wheel. Then we will calculate the necessary width of the pinion, and lastly the load on the bearing of the wheels due to the power transmit. All the things which are given to you, we have listed everything. Power is given in kilowatt, we will multiply with 10 to the power to 3 to convert it into watt. RPM is given to you, we will write it as NP since it is of pinion. Therefore N into subscript we have written P. So NP is equal to 1800 RPM. Alright, and phi pressure angle is 22.5 degree, and the load which is acting, the normal load is 175 Newton per mm. Alright, now moving further students, first of all what we will do, the first thing that is asking is the necessary standard module in if no interference is occurred. Now this formula I have not told you, this formula you already know, you would have studied the theory of machine subject. In that you learn about this concept of gear also. From that we all know that the minimum number of teeth on the pinion in order to avoid interference is given by this formula. And in this formula AW represents the area. Alright, AW is your 1. Here it is equal to module 1, and all the other things G you all know. Alright, so putting all the values, you can calculate the value of number of teeth in the gear, and that is 140. Number of teeth in the gear is 140. Before that, the number of teeth in the pinion you have calculated 13.3, and since it is in point decimal form, you will just round off to 14. So TG is equal to, now we all know TG by DP is given as gear ratio, which is 10. So multiplying by 10 to the number of teeth on the pinion, you will get equal to 140. So the number of teeth on a gear is 140 and number of teeth on the pinion is 14. Alright, so this formula you will have to use in order to have the value of number of teeth to avoid interference. Moving further students, now in the question they have given you the value of dg plus dp by 2. Alright, and that is L, and it is given you as 660. dg is not known to you, dp is not known to you. How you will calculate? Dp by dg ratio is given to you in the question itself is equal to 10. So this means that in place of dp, in place of dg, you can write dg is equal to 10 dp. So here we have written, therefore finally the equation becomes dp, this is p students, dp by 2 plus 10 dp by 2 is equal to L. This means that 5.5 dp is equal to L. This means that L is given to you as 660. So 660 is equal to 5.5 into dp. Finally, from this you can calculate the value of dp. It is 120 mm. We also know that students, dp is equal to mtp. This means that module is equal to ratio of diameter by number of teeth for the pinion. So the module for the pinion comes equal to 8.6 mm. So we will take the nearest standard value of module, and the nearest standard value of module from 8.6 is your 8 mm. So this we have calculated module. Coming into the step number 2 students, the second thing that is asked in the question is the number of teeth in each wheel. So we all know teeth can be calculated by the relation between teeth diameter and the module. T is equal to, we all know m is equal to d by t. This means that teeth is equal to d by m. So by using for pinion it will be 15, and for gear calculating the same thing for the gear, tg is equal to g into tp. G is given to you as 10 and TP is your 15. From this you can calculate the value of number of teeth on the gear. Moving into the third thing that is asked in the question, necessary width of the pinion. See, torque we will have to calculate first of all, and we all know torque is calculated by P into 60 upon 2 pi n, because P power that is transmitted is given by 2 pi nt by 60. From this it is taken out that T is equal to P into 60 by 2 pi n. Putting all the values, you will get this as the torque. Now we all know the tangential load will be equal to the torque transmitted. Now this torque which is calculated, this is, we can also write it in this way, that the load Wt into its distance from the point means Wt into dp by 2. Wt into dp by 2, it is the distance, radius. So Wt into dp by 2 will give you the value of tangential load as 44,200 Newton. Alright, 44,200 Newton. So this is the tangential load. So here you can, after calculating the value of torque, you can calculate the tangential load by this formula. And then the normal load, we all know the relation between normal load, if pressure angle is given to you, is Wn is equal to Wt upon cos phi. This formula is important. From this normal load you will calculate. Alright, and since the normal pressure between teeth is 175, this is the pressure which is given. Therefore width, how you will calculate width? Width will be equal to Wn upon 175, because 175 is basically what? 175 is the normal pressure between teeth. Alright, that is 175. So this we have calculated width. Now the fourth thing that is required to be calculated is the load on the bearing of the wheels. We know that the radial load on the bearing due to power transmitted is Wr is equal to Wn sin phi. This will give you the radial load. So you can calculate it equal to 3.308 kilonewton. So fourth thing is also calculated. Now let's students discuss the multiple choice questions relevant to our today's video lecture. Coming into the first multiple choice question, all dimensions of a standard gear system can be defined in terms of all the options, as I have told to you in the discussion, module and number of teeth will give you the correct answer. Second, the curve traced by a point on a line as it rolls on a circle is called, we all know that it is known as involute, students. So option C is the correct option. Coming into the MCQ number 3, beam strength indicates the maximum value of dash force at the large end of the tooth that the tooth can transmit without bending. So we all know that tangential load is the used for beam strength. So option A is the correct option. Coming into MCQ number 4, wear strength of a bevel gear can be calculated by using the equation. We all know wear strength is calculated by Buckingham equation. So A is the correct answer. Coming into multiple choice question number 5. If velocity is 5 meters per second, then velocity factor for a cut teeth is, so we have the formula for velocity factor. If the velocity is 5 meter means it is less, so we will use 6 upon 6 plus v. 6 upon 6 plus v. V is 5, so by this you can calculate. When you will calculate, you will find that A is the correct answer. Again, coming into the next multiple choice question, MCQ number 6. Calculate the ratio factor Q if a pair of bevel gear consists of 25 teeth pinion matching with 40 teeth gear. So again, there is a formula for calculating this ratio factor. Use that formula and calculate the value. You will find that B is the correct answer. Ratio factor formula I have already told you in the discussion. Try to use that formula. The number of teeth in pinion and gear are given to you. You will find the answer. Coming into MCQ number 7, permissible bending stress for gear tooth is usually taken as you can see among all the 4 options, option A is the correct option. Then coming into MCQ number 8, wear strength of gear tooth should be, so wear strength of gear tooth should be more than the effective load of static and dynamic load. So option B is correct option. So the multiple choice question number 8, wear strength of gear tooth should be, it should be more than the effective load consisting of static and dynamic load. So B is the correct option. Coming into the next multiple choice question number 9. Which of the following types of gears are free from axial thrust? So axial thrust, we all know that for removing the axial thrust, there is a special double-sided inclination in herringbone gear. So herringbone gear is the correct answer. Coming into the 10th MCQ, maximum gear ratio for a pair of spur gear is, so the maximum ratio for a pair of spur gear is 10. This is the maximum value of gear ratio. So we have completed all the multiple choice question, students. I hope you have understood each and everything which I have taught today. You can use any of the references which are given here. Alright, the most of the content of my video lecture you will find in this V.B. Bhandari book of Design of Machine Element. Thank you. It's enough for today. Thank you, students. Thank you, and have a nice day.